Rachel, and welcome back to another episode of the Plant Sumo podcast. Today, in our second episode, not only do I have an official mug, finally, but also I am here today with Torre Washington, who is a vegan bodybuilder and is an IFBB Pro. Now, if you don't know what that is, I didn't initially myself. You're about to hear all about it from the man himself. So welcome, Torre. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. I didn't realize this is your second episode.
Yeah. You must feel honored, honestly.
No, I'm grateful that you had me on, and I'm always appreciative to be on anybody's show or anything of that nature because it's just me telling my story and being who I am. But thank you very much.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, so many people have these preconceptions about what a vegan looks like, what you can do on a vegan diet. So I think showing someone like you, right, who has achieved such a peak level of athleticism and you've done all that on a plant-based diet, I think that's something really significant and incredible. And yeah, I want to share it on my platform. So I'm happy to have you on.
Thank you.
Yeah. So can you start by telling me more about what you do, your day-to-day life, all the sort of coaching that you do, competitive stuff?
So currently, what I do is I work with clients on a one-on-one basis, online basis, or sort of a program basis where they purchase a program from my website and they go at it on their own, utilizing the videos within the entire program that are for every exercise and the different types of movements that I give them, the amount of reps and sets that I put into this program for them. The other way is one-on-one coaching training, whereas I meet with the person or individual in person at their facility, their own gym, a gym that I use, what have you, and we train that way. And the other is online coaching, where an individual is looking to get in shape or compete. I then send them their information or their training personalized to what we need to do for them, because I'm going from my background as an engineer, I utilize my technical background as an engineer to re-engineer or redesign their body based on how they want it to look. And so that's what I've been doing. And I myself compete as well. As a matter of fact, I'm preparing for a competition in December that's going to be in Toronto, Canada, barring any unforeseen issues, with this whole thing going on. Hopefully it doesn't interrupt me being able to do the competition. If it does, that's fine. I'm gonna still continue as if I'm going to compete. But I started competing in 2009, so it's just something I've always wanted to do, and it wasn't to prove anything about being vegan. It was just something I always wanted to do.
Yeah, that's so cool. I mean, just the fact that you do it on so many different levels, like you're not just coaching on one avenue, you offer it on an online platform, a specialized platform. And I mean, you also have a qualification in nutrition, right? So obviously a part of what you do is advise people on their diet necessarily. So, I mean, obviously, when it comes to doing things like building muscles, there are some specific challenges that come with being on a vegan diet. So what is the typical plan you would give to someone or you would have yourself when it comes to building muscle on a vegan diet?
So, two things that you said that I want to kind of alter. One
Oh
thing
God.
is I'm not certified in nutrition.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
certified as a coach, as a trainer in the physical form. When it comes to nutrition is a whole different ball game. But what I do provide to individuals is a suggestion based on the macronutrient or caloric intake.
Oh, okay.
That way, it leaves it open for them to be able to modify their food intake based on what I have provided for them in a numbers type of manner. For example, if I'm saying you need to consume 2,500 calories per day, you need to be able to utilize the foods that you enjoy to make that happen, plus the exercise. Secondly, diet is a term I don't use. Because
Oh.
when you think of diet, people can get you can get on a diet and get what? You can get off a diet. Diets
True.
are something that usually is done when someone wants a certain outcome. I tend to look at the word diet as it starts with three letters that aren't really something people look forward to. Die.
Oh. Yeah.
We're not ready to die. Look at it, die yet?
Mm.
Are you ready to die yet? No. We're here to thrive. We're here to live. And
Mm.
so I look at it as lifestyle. We're here to
Mm.
live in life. And so it should be your lifestyle to want to thrive and live in abundance
Mm.
with nutrients. And so I never looked at vegan as a diet. And I actually, one of my goals in promoting it is to get it to a point where we don't have to call people vegans. We don't have to
Mm.
call people this. We don't have to call people that. It's just the way we are. Because prior to that lifestyle being introduced into society, there was no terminology for it. Now
Mm.
there's a term for it. Just like people just ate food. Now, oh, you're a vegan. Oh, you're this. Oh, you're so we label everything to put people in a box. And
Mm.
therefore, if they're not fitting that described label, hey, you're not in this box anymore. You're ostracized
Mm.
and
Yeah.
we exclude others when I'm looking to include you and include humanity, include people in general. Because I think if we can have more of an acceptance of one another, we can have a much better place of coexistence in this world that we all live in.
Mm.
So yeah, so
I.
those are the two things. But when it comes to the lifestyle, I don't particularly have specific foods. It's
Mm.
because I, food is nutrition per se. Some has more than others. And so when you're looking to maximize the potential of growing muscle and creating the body that you desire, you want
Mm.
to give it the most abundant form of performance enhancing nutrition available. And that typically comes from fruits and veggies. Fruits and veggies provide a lot of nutrients, micronutrients that we don't get from animal sources that mainstream fitness pushes because they look for one particular source, which is the protein or the L-carnitine or just the small minutia when it comes to the nutrient value
Mm.
versus the micronutrients that our body needs and our cells need to continue to live longer. We only think about living longer when we hit that point where we're old and we're like, all right, I want to
Yeah.
have longevity, so now I need to change my eating style. It's like, what? Why didn't you do that from the beginning?
Mm.
So yeah, so it's something that I work on, but I make sure that I eat a variety of different things to kind of keep it fun as well as showcasing that you can eat all of these foods and still
Mm.
build the muscle that you're looking for.
Yeah. I mean, that's amazing. Obviously, just opening people's eyes to the fact that you can have a total variety in your diet. You're not limited in what you're choosing to eat, even if you do want these specific results. But I really want to touch on what you said earlier about creating sort of a coalition of people all coming together without these sorts of labels that we unnecessarily put onto dietary choices, right? A lot of the time. Because I think what you said about that kind of ostracization, it's so true, right? This sort of moral judgment being attached to the food choices that you make is one of the major things that can turn people away from just even experimenting with plant-based foods. And I think that's such an issue. And part of what we try to do in our brand is just, like anyone can try our food. You don't have to be like vegan. I mean, I'm not vegan. I eat meat. And obviously for me, like turning to more of a plant-based diet is something I would love to do. And throughout this process, I've become more and more passionate about doing that. But, it's just that kind of judgment of individuals on an individual scale. It prevents that sort of future that you were really talking about, where, we move towards choices collectively without judgment that are just
Right,
better for everyone. Yeah.
right, right.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I guess so. What is the significance of your name being Plant Sumo?
Mm. It's, well, I'm not so much on the kind of science and branding side of it, but I believe it's got something to do with specific sumo nutrients in plant-based food. They are called that. And also I think on another level, it's the whole, when when people think of like traditionally like super healthy bodies, right? They have people like you in mind. You get what I mean? Where like you're ripped, you're jacked and everything. But obviously like sumos, they're an example of a non-normative body type, and it's kind of that whole like acceptance element of it. Like you can look however. Do you get what I mean?
Right, right.
Again, don't take me as like the be all on this. I haven't been involved as much in the branding aspect. I just talk to people.
I get it. I get it. No, so when I first heard, I thought it was related to being a plant-based podcast, but now I understand. Understand. Okay. Makes
Oh, good.
yeah,
I'm glad I've cleared up some confusion. Like,
yeah.
you're just like, what is going on? Why are they even called that? Like, um, yeah. So moving on to other things. Obviously, we were just talking all about identity, right, and labeling and stuff like that. But something I found really interesting is so many people cite specific moral reasons why they've like become vegan or they live a plant-based lifestyle. But something you talk about quite a lot is your Rastafarian background and how that heritage has influenced your relationship with veganism. And I just find that really interesting. So if you'd like to discuss, we
Yeah. So I was raised vegetarian. I
Mm,
say that because that's the terminology that was mainly developed when it came to people eating plants as food.
yeah,
And my mother was a Seventh-day Adventist. I don't know if you know what that is. That's
I
a
don't.
religious. It's a religious organization in which they practice worship on the seventh day of the week, which is considered Saturday. And
Mm,
so Saturday is their day of worship, and they also have these laws and rules which they are guidelines that which they follow. Excuse me. One of them being their health message, and their health message is one that suggests that as humans looking to live Christ-like, we should be eating from the earth,
mm,
nature. Nature should provide us the nutrients because, as it's said in the Bible and what have you.
mm,
And so I was raised that way. And so
mm,
then, and once I moved to Jamaica, I moved to Jamaica, lived with my grandparents for a time. And during that time, we actually moved away from that because it was just me and my brother living with my grandparents, and my grandparents had no idea about this way of life. So
mm,
we had to basically eat what they gave us, which wasn't vegetarian anymore. And
mm,
so living there for about 3 years, then I came back to the States. And then in the States, having been in that culture of Jamaica and learning more about my culture, I started picking up the Rastafarian culture and started studying it, looking into it, and I identify with it more than the religious one that my mother brought me up in. And
mm,
so starting to recognize Bob Marley and all of the different ideals of Rasta with Haile Selassie and understanding the culture and seeing that Rasta actually picked up the form of eating similarly to the Seven Adventists, in that they said that we should eat from the earth, but they called instead of being natural, because Rasta
mm,
looks to make everything coexist with oneness with the Most High. And I is usually a term that puts me with God. And so
mm,
I and I Rasta. So Rasta took natural and turned it to Ital. Ital. Ital is the way of eating, where we eat from the ground and we don't use salt or sugar, and
mm.
they use natural tools, not tools. Instead of utensils, you may use a coconut shell for your bowl,
Yeah.
things of that nature. And so living like that, I started to understand more about Rasta and seeing that it was Ital. And I said, you know what? If I'm gonna truly, because a lot of Rastas would say I'm a Rasta, but still eat chicken or still eat fish.
Mm,
I didn't want to be that type of person who claimed one thing but did another. because
Yeah.
of, Rasta, to a certain extent, Rasta is cool. People like to hear about Rastafari and see
Mm.
the guys with the locks and hear about Bob Marley. That the identity is cool. Smoke weed and all of those things,
Yeah.
and reggae music, and so I was looking at it more of as integrity and not being a hypocrite. So I decided to make that switch and say, you know what, I'm gonna go strictly all ITAL and no dairy or eggs or anything of that nature coming into my system. Even though I had been raised that way, so it was an easy switch for me to
Mm.
just go right back to it. So I did that in '98, and so that influenced my change. But for me, it became more of just of what I consumed
Yeah.
and a spiritual aspect not related to being vegan. And it's not
Mm.
until I would say later on, Rachel, as I was on my journey, I went to a vegan festival
Mm.
and in Atlanta. And I remember I always tell the story because it was very impactful because it really showed to me that people take vegan to a whole nother level.
Yeah.
I was just concerned about what I ate. And when I got to this festival, in the line at a food truck waiting to pick up my food, and this lady said to me about my boots, she said, "Wow, your boots, are they vegan?" And I looked at her crazy, like,
Mm.
"Are they vegan? I'm thinking I'm not gonna eat these damn things. What are you talking about?" And then I had to recognize later that what she meant is, are they not made of animals?
Yeah.
And I was like, what? What is all this nonsense that people are talking about? I mean, you can't wear leather, you can't wear this, you can't do that. And I didn't put the two and two together. That it was not just about what you ate; it's how animals are treated in the entire industry in the world as subservient, as slaves, and all they were to do was provide food, clothing, and performance per se, or a pet and what have you.
Yeah.
And in Jamaica, we didn't have pets. So animals, we had pets, but they weren't in the house. You kept
Mm.
them outside. It's like dog go outside, cat stay outside. You feed them outside, and that was it. Only the human was inside. And so I didn't understand that concept. It was something I learned later on as I continued my journey. And so now I kind of am for the lifestyle, for everything, but I'm
Mm.
not that person that's gonna be like, you need to do it too. What's wrong
Yeah.
with you? Don't you see? Take off those shoes, throw them out. I'm not gonna do that. So.
Yeah, I get you. And I mean, that point about not realizing like veganism can be like a whole lifestyle, right? I mean, obviously, veganism, you don't need to apply that label to it. I mean, a better way, like you said, to think about it is just causing the least possible harm to animals and the planet that you can, right? Through
Right.
specific choices. And it makes you think there's so many beauty brands as well, like skincare, makeup, and stuff, which have gone completely vegan now. And it's just this whole new thing with so many more industries participating and allowing people to make these better choices. And yeah, I think that's amazing. And also what you described in like, Rastafarian culture and stuff like that about giving pets and animals that freedom of movement. I think that's something everyone should do really with their pets. Do you know what I mean? Because
Yeah,
it's,
and I get it. And I think the hard part about that, especially when it comes to cats, like I had a cat that was done with. He's no
hmm.
longer here. He
Oh, I'm
decided to
sorry.
move. He didn't die. He
Oh.
just decided not to come back. He went
Oh.
to a whole other house and decided, yeah, I'm gonna stay here.
Well, I mean, freedom of choice, isn't it? If you
Yeah,
decided to
true,
do
true.
that, the
I
cat
was
would just
like,
have
hey,
to,
whatever.
yeah. Got there. I mean, it's true though. It does take a lot of commitment, especially with what you were talking about, like not even just living a plant-based lifestyle, but not even using things like utensils and stuff, and just sort of eating and living directly from the land in that kind of way. I mean, how have you found doing that in the US? Has it been challenging at times, or like how has it felt with the sort of wider culture?
Oh no, actually, it's been a lot easier. I mean,
Oh, cool.
especially now. If you gotta remember, I started this journey 22 years ago. Back then, it was tough. You
Mm,
had to really go looking, and you mainly cooked at home. And so at least now I have many options. I can cook at home. I can go out because so many places nowadays have created access for all, you know, people, all eating style, lifestyles.
Yeah.
And so it's been truly a much more joyous occasion now to go out.
Yeah. Yeah, true. I mean, I know personally, I haven't really been around that long, but over just the past like 10 years, here in the UK, just the amount of restaurants which are offering more and more vegan and vegetarian options is insane. And I think especially with the way things are going in regards to the climate, hopefully, you'll see more people considering making those kinds of changes to have a positive impact.
Right.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, and
true.
I mean, yeah, exactly. Because I don't know, just with the way things are going at the moment, it's hard to be optimistic. But it's all about those small changes, isn't it? Like a situation like that isn't going to change overnight, but you can know in your heart you're doing what's right. As cheesy as that kind of sounds. Yeah, exactly. Um, God, though, I mean, thank you so much for coming on. I've really, really enjoyed this. You're an incredible speaker, naturally, as you do a lot of public speaking.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yeah, of course you're welcome. This was great. I hope you've enjoyed it as well, and I wish you all the luck on your next competition.
I appreciate it. Hopefully, like I said, that it does go through, which I'm not looking forward to if they
Mm.
say, hey, you got to quarantine all this mess for 14 days. That's not going to work because that would mean I would need to get there like a month in advance. And I don't need to do all of that. I need to
Yeah,
go. Even though I have family in the area, I have places I can stay. But I don't want to be there limiting because I have pets, and then I
yeah,
have people here that I need to take work with. So I don't need to be gone for too long unless I'm taking a true vacation, which that's different. But this is not a vacation; it's more competition. And so if it goes through, it's fine. If not, like I said, I will treat it as though there still is a competition, and I
mm.
will drive towards that end goal.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And I look forward to it. It'd be great to win this time. Last time I got fourth place. So it'd be nice to get up in the top three or win it.
Hey, you've got my blessing. I'm sure you will. Just, just keep going for it. And thank you so much. I'm Rachel. This is the Plant Sumo podcast. Buy a mug. Thanks for watching. Bye. Bye, guys.
Take care.